Welcome to Quest for Peace, a podcast that explores how we can journey towards inner tranquility in the midst of a chaotic world. In an era filled with uncertainty, conflicts, and global challenges, our quest for peace becomes more vital than ever. Together, let's discover how we can create more peace within ourselves, and by doing so, how we can contribute to a more peaceful world. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Quest for Peace. My name is Saju and I'm your host today. Today, I have a beautiful human being with me, Kellie Koppel. She is a Kundalini Yoga teacher, Reiki master, certified clarity breathwork facilitator, and has been a practitioner of one of Beverly Hills' leading energy medical centers. Wow. She has cultivated an exclusive clientele as an intuitive, transformational, and wellness coach for top professionals and energy workers all around the world. Very, very big welcome to my show, Kellie.
Thank you so much, Saju. It is so good to see you again.
Thank you. Same here. And, you helped me and taught me a lot about breath work and really, really helped me in a lot of ways. And I just thought I had to introduce you to everyone so we can continue with our journey to peace here, quest for peace. And I know that you would be amazing at it. So before we go anywhere, I would love for you to introduce yourself or let us know, how did you start on all this work and how long ago did you start this and why?
Oh my gosh.
Mouthful.
It's a mouthful. A lot of questions. So this journey, meaning an inner journey for peace, self-actualization, that kind of journey. I'm guessing that's what you're asking.
Yes, your journey to teaching all these things that you're teaching. Why and how did you start and why?
Well, the whole teaching and the sharing came out of course, my own inner journey, and going through and finding resources and tools for myself, and then others around me really having very similar issues and challenges and wanting some help and some support. I have just kind of naturally become this way shower. And as I've studied and practiced not only Kundalini Yoga since 1994, but Reiki and Satnam Rasayan, which is another energy work. I just have many different modalities in my own self-actualization and healing journeys. It's all kind of come together, and I have this little doctor's toolbox and the intuition to be able to help guide people through their own challenges. And one of the things that I'm finding more than anything, especially in this last year, is with the planetary shifts. I'm sure your whole audience is well aware of all of the energy and the solar flares coming into the planet, and the poles shifting, and the actual frequency of the planet shifting up. With that happening, us as energetic beings, it has an effect on us, and our energy has to shift up, because you can't have a high frequency and a density at the same time. This high frequency is traveling very fast, and the density is very slow, and they can't exist at the same place, at the same time. So what's happening literally is our physical bodies are upgrading with this new energy. And what that means is that density, energy that is dense, maybe old trauma, past beliefs that are laden with fear or doubt or grief, or, very dense emotions, they cannot exist where this planet is raising in frequency and our bodies are raising in frequency to meet it. So all of this old trauma and triggers and garbage is coming up in front of everybody's, you know, front desk to be seen and heard and released. And people, the general public, just they don't have the tools. And you're seeing a lot of depression, a lot of stress, a lot of anxiety, a lot of overwhelm, and people really not even knowing what to do. And so they're running to, you know, their doctors who are giving them pharmaceuticals and prescription medicines for depression and things. And it's just it's really not effective. It's masking some symptoms. And so what I do is I go in there like sort of a, I don't know, an energy surgeon, and I help you identify what those densities are. I help you identify and have an experience of truth of your soul, which is light and love, before it became imprinted with beliefs, patterns from the outside world, from, you know, just living in the 3D world. And when you can take those away and have an experience of what your truth actually is, then you have a barometer to be able to go into this human experience right now. And you can see, you know, what feeds you and what depletes you. And you can make choices based on that barometer, based on your truth, on your heart, as opposed to old patterns of maybe guilt or shame or shoulds. I should do this. And, you know, when we're operating from the mind instead of the heart, there's a part of ourselves that is disconnected. You know, we're disconnected from the truth of our soul. And yeah, we'll go out in this world and maybe we have success the way it looks in our bank account, or, you know, I had a very successful career as an actress in Los Angeles, and I was a filmmaker and executive producer and a red carpet host, and I had all of the stuff and the glamour and all of it. And then had just a real two back to back, really incredible health journeys that put me on my butt. Literally, I had to learn how to walk twice again, and it was near death both times. And it brings you to a realization of what your truth really is and what really matters, and how and where to find the peace inside instead of looking outside.
So, Kelly, you said that you were an actress and you had this wonderful life. You were also simultaneously teaching, or that was later?
I started studying Kundalini Yoga in 1994, and in Los Angeles, and Yogi Bhajan, who brought Kundalini Yoga to the West, we didn't realize how blessed we were back then. That that was our teacher on Thursday nights. He was right there at Yoga West, and that was like our Thursday night class after Guru Singh. And I always taught, but never as a career. I always taught as seva. Seva, you well know, is service, is giving back. So sort of giving back to the center where I learned, and giving back to the teachings, giving back to humanity, you know, what I've been given. And that's always been a big part of my path, is this idea of seva. It's not even an idea of seva. It's just part of me. It's, you give back, you pay forward. And so, yeah, I would teach classes at Yoga West, or I would had a couple of private clients in Bel Air, but it was never a career. I had, at the same time, I had built a big film catering company, which is why I needed the yoga to balance myself, because I had like 50 employees and all these big film catering trucks and a huge commissary. I started this when I was 26 years old, and it just grew, and I kept buying equipment, and it grew. And I needed a little balance myself in my own life. And that's where yoga came in. It came in exactly at the right time to help me find that balance and a peace. And it helped me physically unwind some very old, very deep trauma from sexual abuse early on as a child. It was amazing. The whole first year that I studied and did teacher training, Kundalini Yoga, I was taking like 5 classes a week. I was like really into it. And for the first year and a half, I think, every class that I did, my body, either during an exercise, during a kriya, or during even shavasana, the the meditation at the end when you're laying down, my body would convulse. It would just shake with the energy releasing, and just tears, emotion would just pour. And it wasn't that I saw it, though I didn't have any mental like ideas, or I didn't have any visions or stories behind this. It was just a pure energetic release from my body, from my cells, through the oxygenation of my cells and these specific mantras and postures and things. Kundalini Yoga has been one of the tools to really save my life multiple times in in many different ways.
Wow.
And you know, I knew when I went to my first class, my girlfriend had gone to Guru Singh's class in LA, and she called me. She said, "You got to go. This Kundalini yoga thing is like, you got to go try it out." And I was like, "Oh, sure." So I left early, and my office manager, the man who I had running the office at the time, he was very fun, very flamboyant. And he's like, "So you got to tell me all about the yoga." I came back the next day to how was it? And I looked at him and I said, it just hit me. I said, I, I don't, I will never be the same again. I will never look at the world in the same way again. I, I, I felt there are there are times in my life where I feel very specific timeline shifts. It's like you're going down a path and then all of a sudden you shift gears and you're on this other train track, heading this way. This was one of those times. And it was that poignant. I felt that I was home. I felt like I knew this practice, this technique from ages, from ages. And it's an ancient sacred, practice and technique, science of the body. This human body, we don't come with a manual. And yoga, specifically Kundalini Yoga, is kind of like a manual. You can control the wetness, the heat. I mean, that you can do it. You can purge the liver, stimulate the kidneys. You can do everything with kriyas, with breath and posture. And then internally, you can imprint every single blood cell as it's being formed and as it travels through the body with a mantra, with a visualization and a verbalization of creation, of a facet of creation, whether it's abundance or whether it's health or whether it's, Satnam, Satnam, Satnam. I
That's
identify
amazing.
with, yeah, it's
That is
powerful.
amazing. Yeah. So, I mean, from what I'm understanding, you have been through a lot of challenges. And
I have.
your challenge from childhood with sexual abuse, and then you learned the yoga, which helped you release a lot of that, and
Mhm.
then you became a actress and did really well.
I, s- I started acting when I was 7. I've always acted. And
Oh,
I think
okay.
that also has, when my big like health challenges came up in life, it was so interesting. It was absolutely, and who I am now and how I show up for people is absolutely so unique to my path and to everything that I've studied in my entire life. And acting is one of those things you think, well, that's kind of crazy. But anyone who knows what an actress or an actor is, what they do, their tools, their paintbrushes are their emotions. So they spend their entire lives studying humanity and emotions and the energy of emotion. And they study how to be the most vulnerable part of themselves so that they can be affected by external circumstances and they can emote in the deepest, in the deepest way possible. So like bungee jumping for me is like getting a script where, everybody dies and you get to explore that. You get to go in and you get to explore and live this bliss and these tragedies, and there's no judgment between one or the other. It's all so yummy. It's all so rich of a life. And having that awareness and that understanding and that visceral attunement to my own emotions and energy as it moves through me, and being able to describe it and give it, qualify it, has helped me really work with clients with their own feelings and my intuition, my ability to feel exactly what they're feeling and describe it back to them so that they can see and feel things that maybe have been too painful to see or feel. We do it in a very safe way, in a very sacred, nurturing container of just unconditional love without judgment and just nurturing that, when we've had traumas, especially as children, we don't have the tools and we haven't had the nurturing. So those traumas are still there. So when you can go in and kind of look at, investigate some of these old traumas and these triggers with that kind of compassion, and then, add tools that you can use like breath work or visualization or whatever. It depends. I have so many different tools for so many different instances, and it depends on the person. Every single session I do is completely different. Every workshop I do is completely different. And it really is dictated by what your soul calls in. I hear and feel kind of what's inside of you. It sounds so bizarre to say it and to hear myself saying it, but that's how I've become really very intuitive. And that's how my intuition works, is sensorily. I hear things too and I see things, but for me, it's the sensorily. I can feel the emotion. I can feel the energy inside as you're experiencing it too. And that's how I can guide you through it. And I can hold such a loving space for it. So in experiencing it, you're not alone.
Yes. I mean, I can attest to everything that you're saying because you have come to our center here at Infinite Love Meditation Center, and you have facilitated, I think, 3 workshops right now, 3 or 4.
Or
I don't know.
3 or 4,
They've
yeah.
been, yeah. And I've watched people release. I've watched people cry, and I've watched, it's tremendous work that you do, and and I've also heard from a lot of people who have done one-on-one sessions with you, and I have done one-on-one sessions with you, and it's true, you do read. I mean, sometimes there was a time that I said, well, how did you know that? So you're pretty intuitive for sure.
I want to add this in real quick right here. A lot of people have relationships, or they have this idea of what intuitives or empaths are. And like there are some that are like fortune tellers, or they read the tarot, or they look into the future for you, or a lot of people try and come to me for, you know, what's going to happen in the future? What's going to happen to the world in the future? A lot of future type stuff. And that is not how my intuition works. I mean, I can sometimes get a sense of that, but it's like that is that's above my pay grade. That's not how it works for me. And it's almost for me to ask or go into a situation with that is the intent. It's almost like a blasphemy for me. The way my gifts have been given to me is 100% for service of unwinding and bringing clarity to an individual so they can experience their own soul, the truth of their own soul, and have that peace and happiness and that understanding going forward. It really, it's so interesting because that's the other is not even a thought to me, but I have a lot of people that come up and are like, well, am I going to meet somebody this year, or am I going to get a new job or whatever? I'm like, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah. So that's beautiful. And again, as I was looking at your transformation, the challenges that you have gone through, and yet here you are. And I know that you healed yourself with all that you had gone through with the near death experiences. And I know from speaking with you how much you have been through and how much you're taking care of yourself, healing yourself through all this time. It touches my heart because people get into challenges, and a lot of time we are get into the victim mode, and we go, "Oh, wow, look at what has happened to me, and look at my life, and blah blah blah," and then we just sit there and don't do anything, and we don't go forward, we don't push forward, we don't find different ways. And you have had so much thrown at you, but like you've pushed through, you've learned from it, you've come up, and you're helping everybody else. And that is really amazing. So hats off to you.
Well, thank you. It absolutely is. Everything has been designed for my soul's evolution. Everything. And I think one of the biggest blessings that I personally have and continue to experience is the awareness of that truth while I'm going through a challenge. So I'll briefly tap touch on one of the largest challenges, one of the first largest challenges. In 2014, my whole left side, I had a lot of pain, and then my left leg stopped. There was a lot of nerve damage and weakness, and it wouldn't work. I started tripping over it. I would walk and my foot wouldn't be there, and I'd trip. And I started with, x-rays, then MRIs and blah, 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 going to doctors. And then finally, one of the doctors and nerve tests and stuff, one of the doctors sent me to USC, to the neurology department, to have a head and neck MRI done to see if maybe I had a compressed disc or a pinched nerve or something in my neck, because they were looking everywhere else. And for the amount and the rapidity, the fast decline, the degeneration that was happening in my nerves in that left side, which they said was irreversible, was really fast and extensive. So I went there, and they found a 3.2, like a golf ball size tumor that had split my brainstem in half. It had literally roots growing down into my brainstem. It was growing into my pons, my autonomic system, and it was wrapped around the third, fourth, fifth, sixth cranial nerves. And that was another one of those moments when the timeline shifts. I'm on a different pathway, just like this. They had me up immediately up in neurology ICU and doing tests and everything for the next week. And I had no idea. I knew this was definitely a definite jump in timelines. I had no idea what this journey was going to be. If I was going to have to have some horrible brain surgery, if I was going to die in a month and a year, if I was going to be a vegetable, if it was going to be, I had no idea what this journey was, but it was very intense and very aggressive based on all of these neurosurgeons and their actions and their response to me. What was interesting to me is that I never, not once, had any fear. I never I never even thought, why me? Why this? Not once. I knew beyond a shadow of a doubt, I knew that this was divinely created for my soul's evolution. I knew that whatever this journey was, it, it, the physical was so crazy. I knew it was a spiritual journey. I knew it. I knew it was where the rubber meets the road, we're going to sit your butt down and we're going to learn something right now. Because I was a type A overachiever. You used the phrase pushed through it. With all of these, I learned how to not push through and instead surrender to. And it's a big difference.
Beautiful.
It's not surrendering to like a victim. It's not being overcome by. It's not needing to change or make wrong what is happening right now. And instead, some deep voice inside, some deep knowingness just knew that this was absolutely perfect it was constructed perfectly for my soul's evolution. And so I never question it. I never question why or will I or won't I. I strapped on my little fanny pack like Dora the Explorer. And I was like, okay, this is where we are now. It doesn't matter how we got here or why we got here. This is where we are. We're on a deserted island and there's a jungle all around us. So where are we going to, what are our tools? What do I have in my fanny pack that I can use? And where am I going to go? And that's how I really started learning to use that perspective with life. And instead of my needing to change things to make it pretty or to make it socially acceptable or fit in, I started really learning to surrender and accept and bring compassion to. And I think that right now in this world, with what everybody is going through, I think that, my friend, is the true path to peace right now for everyone. The more we resist something, the more we engage in fear and doubt, the more we invest. When you're close to death, energy is more valuable than money by far.
Yep.
And where you invest your energy is, you have to make choices. It's like, do I have enough energy to walk down the stairs to be able to feed myself? Or do I have the energy to sit in a Epsom salt bath for 2 hours to allow my bones to detox and to warm up so I don't have pain? Where do I invest this energy? And I can tell you where it's not. the energy stops being invested in any kind of judgment. Judgment how my body is working, judgment how I look, judgment who shows up, who doesn't show up. All of this, it becomes, you just simply don't have the energy to invest in that. You are on such a tight budget that it becomes so clear how important and where you invest your energy and where you invest your focus. And I use that word over and over again, specifically because it's that important. If we had the relationship with our energy and the stewardship with our energy as we do with our money, we'd all be living. We none of us would die. I mean, seriously, we'd be all living to 100, but we don't. We invest our energy and our focus with whatever diversion comes up, whether it's on the news or some, political this or economical that. All of these things that are designed, literally designed to pull us away from our own truth and this power of creative essence that animates through our human experience as source. This is our human experience on this planet right now. And all of these diversions are taking that away from us, taking that power and that ability to evolve away from us. And it's very not only disruptive, but it's causing so much anxiety and overwhelm and stress and pain, so much pain. And so that is, I share because I feel the pain. I feel when people have pain, and anything that I can do to relieve them, it is truly my deepest honor to be able to facilitate that. And I don't know why this path. It's definitely not one that that I had envisioned, but it is one that has unfolded. And I've been so honored. It's been a challenge for me too. I've been I'm a pragmatic businesswoman that happens to have a very, active spiritual and self, discovery her whole life, path of self-discovery her whole life. All of the sudden is down this path, given these gifts, and stuff has to come out of my mouth that I'm in my own head sitting there thinking, don't say it, don't say it, don't say it. And it doesn't stop unless I do say it. And then the second, something comes out of my mouth, someone's in tears because it's exactly what they needed to hear right then. And so I have had to get out of my own way and my own judgment because it's not me, of what comes out of my mouth, It's not me. It's not out of my head. I'm not thinking to create something. And I'm not channeling. I'm not a channel. I literally, I liken it to, I'm a translator. I can hear and I can feel and I can give words. I can turn that into words so that you can understand. You can hear them maybe for the first time even. And it's interesting when I'm I get a lot of information when I'm talking to people. I have a lot, I go deep, deep, deep with people that I've never met. I have no idea what their intention is, what they're going through, why they're coming to see me. And it'll be like a first private session. And I have no idea, none whatsoever. And I'll go through and ask them a few questions, and then I start hearing. And what I hear, what it feels like when I'm hearing is certain things that come out of their mouth that are not in that don't resonate with their truth. It's a it's something that comes out of their mouth that is in misalignment. And you've experienced it too. I'll stop them and I'll say, wait, back up, because this is, and what it sounds to me, it's like bolded, it's like bolded text in a book. So when there's something that is in misalignment, it hits me like a bolded statement, and I back it up, and then I pull apart to find the essence of what the incongruence is. And inevitably, it will always lead back to an aspect of a deeper emotional trigger or, trauma. Always.
That's
And I
beautiful.
have no idea. I could not go in. I can't prepare for this. I just have to open myself and open my heart to be able to feel what this beautiful person is feeling in front of me and try and describe that as best I can.
I know. I've seen that in action. So, yeah, it's beautiful. What you were also talking about with everybody, with all the things that are going on in the world right now, and everybody's watching the news or, occupied in what's going on. And to me, I feel a lot of people are also having so many emotions that are trying to come out at this time, but they're using the outside to block those emotions, keeping themselves busy with work, keeping themselves looking outside at what's happening and all the negative things that are happening, and really getting involved with it so they don't have to feel.
Absolutely. It's a desensitization.
Mhm,
It's a
mhm.
numbing effect. But what they don't realize is that I did a really interesting, it's kind of like a TED talk down here in Mexico. We have a group that meets once a month called PDCS. They're international group called Yes Groups. And it's kind of like TED Talks, conversations worth having. And I did a talk on the frequency of gratitude down here in December. And what is so interesting is that every single emotion has a measurable frequency that is measured in megahertz. And I mean, this is all, none of this is woo woo. It's all scientific. And the denser emotions have very low vibrations. Gratitude has it's measured at 540 megahertz. Love is measured at 528. So gratitude is measured even higher than love. And when we have emotions that are responses, what I realized is there's in this graph of emotions and the measurements, there's a consciousness is expanded, it, the higher the frequency, and it's contracted, the lower the frequency. And all of these denser emotions are like fear, anger, greed, jealousy. And what I realized is all of those are kind of knee jerk animal responses. It's like, I'm angry, I'm, they're just kind of animalistic. There's not a lot of thought. It's just like a response.
Mm.
But right across in the dead center of this graph that measures the megahertz of each of these emotions is courage,
Mm.
which I found was really interesting. Courage is the midpoint. And when I went into the definition of courage, courage is actually the choice of choosing to do something despite something else. So, despite an animalistic response of fear, I choose free will. I choose my experience. I choose to have a higher vibration. I choose to focus. I choose to invest my energy into love, compassion, gratitude. And this, in my opinion, is all humanity's one of our biggest superpowers is this free will, this choice. This choice can be made at any time, any moment of any day, in the middle of a challenge, in the middle of a crisis. You can stop, take a breath, and choose how you want to experience it. You can't choose what life brings to you. Life is going to come and it's going to kick you or elevate you or toss you around however it wants to. The only thing you can control is how you choose to experience it. And that is what brings you that inner peace and that balance. Knowing that if I have and I still have this brain tumor, at any time I could not work anymore. I mean, not work, you know, not work. My body would shut down because it's at my autonomic system. So I could stop breathing at any time, at any moment. That could happen. But do I focus on that? No, because why? Why would I? It's going to happen or not. You know, it's going to happen or not, whether I focus on it. And if I focus on how I want to experience this life instead, and how beautiful I can make this life, and how beautiful and fun I can make my choices so I enjoy every minute that I have, then that doesn't even matter, because the only thing that matters is this moment that I'm having with my very good friend Saju, and just loving and loving on her entire audience, and sharing my heart as vulnerable and as open and as truthfully and authentically as I can. And that's what feeds me.
Once again, I'm in awe of your courage, of your faith, and so much love that you have. It's not so easy to be in that place after going through still all the challenges that are constantly with you. And here you are smiling and helping. That's beautiful.
Well, when you focus on these higher vibrations, it imprints every cell of your being. And where your cells have a high vibration, you know what? They cannot have a low vibration of disease, of bacteria, of cancer, of mildew, of mold. You can't have a high vibration with a low vibration. And that goes for the cells of your body as well. So if you want to heal from the inside out, you start this very moment and you invest in your cells with this beautiful light and love and compassion. And you just literally hold and love every one of your cells, realizing that their entire job, their nature, the very nature of every cell in your body is to regenerate. So they have the potential to regenerate in light and love instead of disease. But
Beautiful.
you have to make that choice, and you have to make that investment.
That's your free will. That is it. That's your free will.
That is it.
Yes.
And,
So,
heck, if I can speak on the return of on investment, it's better than anything. It's better than any mutual fund that you're going to find on Wall Street.
I agree totally. So, Kellie, what does a peaceful world look like to you?
A peaceful world, to me, is where humanity has evolved into these higher frequencies of energetic existence, so that it's almost like the plants or the ocean. It's almost like nature. There isn't a density of malalignment. There's this, it's just love. It's just consciousness. It's vibration of compassion. It's When I go to the beach and I watch the sunrise in the mornings and the sand is under my feet and the ocean breeze is blowing against my face and that sun is coming up just over the horizon and the waves are crashing. At that moment, I am in tune with everything that is. I am everything that is. It is me. And it's like I don't even there's no difference. It's just energy. This energy of all that is, this energy of creation, this energy of love. To me, a peaceful world is where in our human experiences, we each have the capacity to express creation in that exalted way, just like the ocean expresses, without any lack.
Beautiful.
It just expresses the uniqueness of ocean or the uniqueness of tree or uniqueness of flower, only in the way that that creation can express that uniqueness. So you would express the uniqueness of Saju, and I would express the uniqueness of Kellie. And there wouldn't be so much of the differences as a realization of the samenesses of the all that isness, all the
Beautiful.
isness.
That's great. That is so beautiful. Thank you for that. And Kelly, you said you're in Mexico right now. So how do you work with clients? Do you do it on Zoom, online, or is it one-on-one?
Yeah, I do. I have remote clients. I can do it on the phone. I can do it on Zoom. A lot of times I actually prefer on the phone as opposed to Zoom because the client has it's this anonymity. A lot of times, especially after COVID, people feel being on Zoom, it's video, it's kind of like having to perform. So it's, there's an aspect of our brain that is like, am I looking all right? Am I doing it right? Is she going to, and I find that when I'm just on the phone, there's not that visual. It's very safe. And it's this beautiful little like cocoon that they can unwind that it's safe to unwind it. And for me personally, intuitively, does not matter. I don't need to see you.
Okay.
I mean, I can even tap into somebody and I can feel the essence of what they're going of kind of what's going on with them. And then once I hear them start to talk, I get pieces of the puzzle, and then the other pieces come in and form the whole picture. And what I'm going to be doing within the month, I'm putting together online breath courses as group workshops. So, like once or twice a month, you can do a group breath online workshop. The breath work that I do is a specific technique called clarity breath work. It's very gentle and it's very effective to go in deeply and create a conversation between the subconscious mind and the conscious mind. And then with the breath work, I take you on a little journey, almost like a guided visualization that helps the subconscious mind. And even I do some inner child work. It all comes up very organically as I'm guided.
And so how do they get in touch with you?
I have a sort of a landing page called kelliekoppel.com,
Okay.
Kellie, Koppel.com. And there you can have all of my links to social media, Instagram. I'm just starting a new YouTube channel called Authentically Kellie, and I will have some really cool content there. If you want to subscribe to that, be doing meditations, guided meditations, different motivations and just insights, community
A lot of
stuff.
beautiful. I really would love for all of you to get to know Kelly, connect with her, get some healing work done with her. She is amazing. And of course, we'll have all the information and all her links on the information section for you to look at. And it's been so amazing talking to you, Kelly. I've learned a lot. Right now, talking to you, I've picked up a few things, and I'm always learning from you. So thank you so much for being here, for being on my show. I really appreciate you.
It is my absolute pleasure. I so admire what you do with the center that you've created and the platform that you're pulling together for healers and for information to be just passed around and to help everybody in their own journeys and their own paths. I love it and love you dearly and
Thank you.
appreciate you so very, very
Thank you.
much.
Thank you. I'm blessed. Thank you. And namaste. We'll see you soon.
Namaste,
Okay.
my sister.
Quest for Peace, a podcast about navigating outer chaos with inner harmony. Whether you're seeking solace in the midst of life's challenges or simply curious about the profound connection between inner and outer peace, the Quest for Peace podcast is your guide on this transformative expedition.